Hello, my name is Emily Backus, and I'm a Master's in Music Education candidate at Georgia College and State University. I also teach general music and chorus at Maryland Elementary School in the Atlanta Public Schools. My research is about building social emotional skills in the elementary music classroom. This project arose from a place of need. When we came back to school in August, I immediately struck out with my first grade classes. Lessons that have always worked for me in the past were completely derailed by behavior. I was spending more instructional time addressing disruptions and sort of rehearsing with my children how to be kind to their neighbors than I was making music. My students seemed more easily frustrated, dysregulated, and they had a lot of trouble working together. And the old saying goes, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. So I decided it was time for a change. I consulted music education and music therapy literature, and I found a wealth of resources illustrating how we can build social emotional learning, SEL, in music settings. Rashdorf, May, and Searcy, McNichol and Morris, and Blinky, Voronov, and Gilboa were especially relevant to my project, so I've listed those references in the corner. For the method of my project, I designed a simple program of 3 interventions which could easily be implemented in a weekly 45-minute general music class. I have somewhere between 21 and 24 students in each class, and I see them once a week. The first intervention was partnered hand games, and I used Amy Curtis Fitzner's Hands to Hands books as a resource. The second intervention was a grounding rhythm stick loop activity, which I learned from a music therapist colleague, but she originally learned it from Dr. Jean Ann Behrens at a conference. And the third intervention was mindful movement mirroring and also breathing using the Alpha Breaths books by Christopher Willard, which are an excellent resource. I also interviewed the first grade teachers at my school to learn if they were observing similar issues with social skills in their classroom and what, if any, interventions they were using to address those needs. And these conversations really reinforced my choices. So over the course of 4 weeks, I recorded anecdotal data about how each class responded before, during, and after the SEL intervention activity. I usually used just one in each class, but sometimes I would use 2. The mindfulness activities led to a quiet calm, although sometimes that did not last very long after we finished the activity. But there was a more permanent sense of bodily awareness and decreased touching of neighbors and crossing into their spaces. The hand games really increased participation. Students that might normally be disengaged or sitting out um, all participated, and I could tell there was some relationship building happening with that. The most successful partner games were the ones where we were in like a big circle and they would rotate through. So there was sort of that mental awareness of, okay, well, I have to work with someone I don't like very well, but I know that as soon as this round's done, then I'm going to be with a friend next. So being able to sort of set that expectation is really helpful for my students. And then the rhythm sticks were also very useful for increasing participation, but they were especially useful for resiliency. We started with a very simple pattern and we would gradually increase complexity, but there was always the option to go back to that grounding simple pattern when students started getting frustrated. One of my favorite incidents was a student who is prone to sitting out or turning away or expressing frustration. He just yelled out, "I love this," when we were doing that activity one day. A somewhat surprising result was that not only were the students positively impacted by these activities, but myself and my student teacher noticed in our bodies a much greater sense of calm and patience. And so I think there's a twofold benefit. Obviously, the students benefit from what research has shown that we can calm our nervous systems with certain musical activities. But there's also the benefit of watching an adult model calming behavior and of the adult having a little bit more patience and being able to be more thoughtful in addressing any potential disruptions that arise. So I found myself, even when I didn't plan to do an intervention, saying, "Oh, you know what? We're all a little bit on high alert. We just came in from recess. Let's take 5 minutes and do some breathing, and then we'll get back to what we need to do." And it was a really big help. Um, so in conclusion, there are a lot of voices in public education right now that are demanding a return to quote unquote normal and to addressing learning loss. But student behavior is communicating a very different need to me. As music educators, we have a unique opportunity to reach all the children in our building and to integrate social emotional learning into our content. So by incorporating small, easy to implement activities, we can give our students and ourselves the care that we need in these difficult times. Thank you for coming to my talk. I would love to talk more about the activities that I used and the new directions I'm going in now with my teaching. So please email me at emily.backus@bobcats.gcsu.edu if you have any questions, and have a great day. You rock.